Hello, in this video I will tell you some interesting things you should know about Israel. Israel is a country in the Middle East, officially known as the State of Israel. It is surrounded by mostly Arab neighboring countries and is the only Jewish state in the world. With an area of 22145 square kilometers, Israel is one of the smallest countries in the world and borders the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, the Gaza Strip, and the West Bank. Since Israel's declaration of independence in 1948, there has been no clear consensus on its borders. The country has been in constant conflict with its Arab neighbors and the Palestinians since its establishment, and some areas, such as Jerusalem, are still disputed. Throughout its history, Israel has expanded its territory through wars, treaties, or occupations. Some claim that Palestinians have even sold their land to Israel. When we analyze the border changes since Israel's independence until today, we see that the country's territory has grown and Palestine has been erased from the map. Today, Israel occupies a large part of the historic Palestinian territories. Palestinians struggle to survive in a very small part of their former homeland. To understand how Israel came into being and the distribution of Jews around the world, let's take a look at history. After their exile thousands of years ago, Jews were scattered in different countries and continents. That is why today there are Jewish communities not only in Israel, but also in America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Oceania. The idea behind the creation of Israel was to unite the Jews of the diaspora into a single state. In this video, we will analyze the process of the creation of Israel and its consequences. Firstly, let's look at the population structure of the country. The population of Israel is approximately 9.3 million. Almost half of the world's Jews, 6.9 million, live here. 73% of the population is Jewish, 21% Arab or Palestinian. The rest is made up of other ethnic groups. In terms of religion, 74% of the population is Jewish, 18% Muslim, 2% Christian, 1.6% Druze, and the rest belong to other religions or no religion. A 2018 law recognized Israel as the national state of the Jewish people. The law states that the Jewish state of Israel is the historical homeland of all Jews in the world, that the right to self-determination in the country belongs exclusively to Jews, that in case of gaps in the law, reference shall be made to the Jewish Sharia, and that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Although Israel has a small population, it is among the countries that have rapidly increased its population in recent years. One of the reasons behind this increase is the importance that the Jewish community attaches to having children. Even the first commandment in the Torah is to procreate and multiply, and the main purpose of marriage is to ensure the reproduction of the Jewish community. While the average fertility rate in the country is 3, this rate rises to 7.1 in the Haredim, the most religious Jewish community. The state also supports those who want to have children and offers 2 IVF treatments free of charge to women up to the age of 45. Another reason for the population increase is the return law called Aliyah. Thanks to this law, anyone of Jewish origin has the right to become an Israeli citizen. Those who decide to make Aliyah have their flight tickets and transport from the airport to their accommodation covered by the state. In addition, all the goods they will carry, including household goods, are completely tax-free at customs and pass without any problems. In order to increase Jewish immigration, the country offers many privileges ranging from state tax discounts to social benefits. Israel offers various incentives to immigrants of Jewish origin. These incentives include financial aid, rental assistance, tax reductions, healthcare, and education discounts. The aim of these incentives is to attract Jews from all over the world to Israel and to increase the Jewish population in line with Israel's founding philosophy. For this reason, Jewish married couples who settle in Israel receive financial aid of $11,400 and singles receive $6,000. In addition, immigrants who do not find a job in the first 6 months can receive a monthly payment of between 1,524 and 4,400 shekels for the rest of the year. Free language courses are also provided for immigrants to learn Hebrew and adapt to their new country. Starting from the 8th month of the immigration process called Aliyah, rental assistance is activated for 5 years. Immigrants who will buy or import a house or a car are also given tax deductions. Health services are provided free of charge for the first year. There are also serious discounts in education. Some of the Jews settling in Israel are settled in the occupied Palestinian territories of East Jerusalem and the West Bank in order to increase the Jewish population here. 27% of the Jews living in Israel are Jews who immigrated to the country later. For example, they come to Israel on a 10-day heritage tour funded by a Jewish organization called Birthright. By offering a free trip to Jews between the ages of 18 and 32, the organization aims to strengthen their ties to Israel and secure the future of the Jewish people. The State of Israel also encourages families to have children and provides financial support per child per month until the child reaches the age of 18. The amount of this support continues to increase as the number of children increases. Israel stands out as a developed developed country in the Middle East. With its economic, military, and political power, it plays an influential role in the region and the world. However, behind this power, there are also some incentives and aids provided by the state to its citizens. It follows a generous social policy for families and children, especially to support population growth. Within the scope of this policy, the amount of financial aid families receive varies according to the number and age of their children. For example, a family with one child receives 152 shekels every month, while this figure increases to 359 shekels as the number of children increases. In addition, with an application launched in 2020, families with 4 children are given an additional 500 shekels for each child. An additional payment of 750 shekels is also made for parents. Thus, a family with 4 children receives a total additional income of 3,500 shekels. Families with 5 or more children can receive an additional 300 shekels for each child. In addition to these aids, the State of Israel is also trying to meet the basic needs of its citizens such as education, health, and security. Israel is the 30th largest economy in the world and has the most advanced defense systems. With U.S. support, it develops and produces modern military equipment, including nuclear weapons. It spends 6% of its gross domestic product on defense, second only to Saudi Arabia. Israel's military power is seen as an important factor in regional conflicts and international relations. Israel also takes strict measures to ensure social security. There are security checks and X-ray devices at the entrance to public transport, shopping centers, schools, and other public spaces. In this way, it is tried to provide protection against possible terrorist attacks. Israel may not be one of the safest countries in the world in terms of quality of life, but it is in a stable position in the region thanks to the opportunities offered by the state to its citizens and the measures taken. The country is full of soldiers. Together with North Korea, it is one of the few countries where women also have to serve in the army. According to 2021 data, women make up about 40% of soldiers and 25% of officers. Compulsory military service lasts 2.5 years for men and 2 years for women. Everyone must complete military training before starting university. For this reason, according to an OECD study, the country has the oldest students in the world. The average age to start university is 24, while the average age to obtain a bachelor's degree is 27. Although compulsory military service has ended, most citizens continue to do military service for 1 month a year until the age of 42. Meanwhile, the state pays between 1,235 and 3,048 shekels per month to those who do military service. Military service is not compulsory for citizens of Arab origin living in the country. Women, on the other hand, have the right to be exempted from military service for reasons such as religious conscience, marriage, pregnancy, or motherhood. After military service, a 1-year rest period is given. During this time, the state supports young people financially and sends them to travel to South America, Africa, or Northern Europe. The aim is to broaden the horizons of young people who have gained their national identity, prepare them for life, and enable them to discover themselves. When they return, the aim is to enable them to decide on the most suitable profession or university program and to become more productive individuals for the country. Israel is a country that stands out in the world in the field of entrepreneurship. Known for its startup culture, Israel is also called the New Silicon Valley. Before the pandemic, Israel was the country that produced the most startups per capita in the world. It also ranks 7th in the ranking of the world's most innovative countries. Israel's success lies in the fact that families give their children the awareness that they should contribute to their country from an early age. Despite its small population, Israel is the 12th country with the highest number of Nobel Prizes. Israel also has the highest number of museums per capita. Israel, whose education system is one of the best in the world, is the 3rd most educated country according to the OECD's 2017 report. More than half of the population aged 25, 64 are university graduates, and 60% of these graduates are women. Israel is a country with a skilled labor force. Israelis are not worried about the future. Those who graduate from university can easily find a job, while those who do not can learn a trade during compulsory military training. Israel is the 12th happiest country in the world and the happiest in the Middle East and Central Asia. Israel also has the longest life expectancy in these regions. With an average life expectancy of 83.19 years, Israel ranks 9th in the world. With an annual income per capita of approximately $44,000, Israel is higher than France and the UK. Another reason for Israel's success is the absence of hierarchy in working life. They work in an environment where everyone is equal and can express their opinions freely. In any company, it is considered normal for the average employee to freely express his or her opinion and discuss it with the boss. Israel Israel is an interesting country culturally, politically, and militarily. The Hofstede Insights Index is a tool for measuring the cultural values of countries. In this index, there is the power distance dimension, which shows the degree of equality between people. In countries with low power distance, people are closer and more comfortable with their managers. In countries where power distance is high, people are more distant and respectful to their managers. According to this index, Israel is ranked as the second country with the lowest power distance. This shows that employees in Israel feel more equal and free towards their managers. A woman coming from a country like Germany, where power distance is high, may perceive this situation as disrespect. Israel's military power is also remarkable. The Israeli army is a very large and well-equipped army for its population. In the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel fought against neighboring countries such as Egypt, Jordan, and Syria and expanded its territory. The Israeli army uses modern weapons and technology. In addition, soldiers undergo very intensive and realistic training. Israel has compulsory military service, and both men and women are conscripted. This is Israel's strategy to ensure its security as a small and threatened country. Israel is a different country in the Middle East. Its cultural values are different from its neighbors, and it is not friendly with any of its neighbors, so it needs to be strong to survive. What is daily life like in Israel? To find the answer to this question, it is necessary to look at various aspects of the country, such as language, culture, and economy. In 2018, Israel adopted the nation-state law and declared that Hebrew is the only official language of the country. Although Arabic is the second most spoken language in the country, it has lost its official status. Although Arabic has previously been recognized as an official language, in practice it has never been equal to Hebrew. Hebrew is a language with an interesting linguistic history. It disappeared in the 500th century AD, was revived in the 19th century, and became a national language. Most people living in Israel are also fluent in English. Street signs are usually written in 3 languages: Hebrew, Arabic, and sometimes English. Some Hasidic Jews who immigrated from Europe use a language called Yiddish, which contains German words. The currency of the country is the new Israeli shekel. The minimum wage is 5,300 shekels, and the average salary is 11,600 shekels. Average salaries according to occupational groups are as follows: teachers 14,000, lawyers 22,000, engineers 25,000, dentists 35,000, doctors 42,000 shekels. However, these salaries are subject to various deductions such as income tax. The income tax rate varies between 10% and 50% depending on earnings. Since health and education services are paid in the country, citizens have to pay a certain amount of tax every month. There is a 5% deduction for health services and 7% for national insurance. Income tax varies according to earnings. For example, a software engineer earning 30,000 shekels per month pays 35% income tax. Thus, 47% of his salary goes to the state, and he is left with 15,900 shekels. Not only that, they have to pay another municipal tax called arnona for the house they live in. This tax varies according to the size of the house and the neighborhood. Even in the cheapest neighborhood, a house of 100 square meters costs 4,000 shekels a year. Rents are very high. Even for a one-room apartment in a big city like Tel Aviv, 4,000 shekels are asked. A 3-room apartment ranges between 15,000 shekels. The cost of living in the country is 25% higher than in Western countries. According to a report by The Economist, Tel Aviv was named the most expensive city in the world in 2021. It is also traditional to leave tips in the country. Many people plan their income based on tips. It is considered normal to leave a 10% tip in restaurants and cafes. Food, cars, clothes, almost everything is very expensive. When you look at the market prices, it is seen that the cheapest thing is vegetables. The reason for this is that Israel is able to meet 70% of its own food needs, thanks to the agricultural technologies it has developed. Israel, most of whose land is desert, has achieved great success in agriculture. The country, whose population and economy are growing rapidly, is known as the miracle in the desert in the world press. Israel is an exporter of dates to Saudi Arabia. In a region with a desert climate, limited water resources, infertile soils, and rare shade, this is a miracle. Using technology and science in agriculture, Israel is able to sell 90% of the fruits and vegetables it grows. The cost of living in the country is quite high. One of the reasons for this is the compulsory military service, which lasts 2.5 years for both men and women. During this period, the state pays salaries to the soldiers and meets their needs. In addition, since the soldiers do not work, they do not pay taxes. Another reason why the country is expensive is that it cannot trade with its neighbors. Since Israel has political problems with the countries around it, it has to import many goods it needs from distant places. Judaism in Israel means both religion and nationality. Jews live according to their own culture. For example, Saturday is the Sabbath. This is a day for Jews to get closer to God and to worship Him. It is therefore forbidden to work on Saturday. In Israel, the weekend is on Fridays and Saturdays. Government institutions and banks are closed on these days. Religious Jews do not do any physical work on the Sabbath. Shopping centers, markets, and shops also close on Friday afternoon and do not open until Saturday evening. Only some non-Jewish businesses remain open on Shabbat. Yom Kippur, one of the most important religious holidays of the Jews, is a 25-hour period of fasting and worship to atone for their sins. Today is declared a public holiday in Israel, and life stops all over the country. Motorways, border crossings, airports, and other transport routes are closed. Only synagogues remain open, and religious Jews pray there. Non-religious Jews spend the day cycling. The streets and avenues of the country are full of cyclists. This has become a tradition for them. Another interesting practice in Israel is the midday nap. Many workplaces close between 1 and 4 p.m. and employees sleep, eat, or rest. Even banks do not provide services during these hours. According to the law of silence, people are very careful not to make noise from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. The sounding of sirens or similar noises causes a lot of panic in the country. This is because sirens sound in the event of an attack, and the population is constantly on the alert. Twice a year, a 1-minute siren is sounded throughout the country, once in memory of the Holocaust, and once in honor of fallen soldiers and people. The education system in Israel is of two types: religious schools and standard schools. Israel is the only developed country where students attend school 6 days a week. Only Saturdays are holidays. Compulsory education starts from kindergarten and continues free of charge until the age of 16. University education in Israel is provided by both public and private institutions. Tuition fees for public universities are approximately $3,000 per year, while private universities are more expensive and range between $9,000 to $12,000. The education system in Israel allows children to be raised with different ideologies. In some schools, children are instilled with a particular political or religious view as part of the curriculum. Some videos leaked on the internet reveal what is taught in these schools. Israel welcomes around 4.5 million tourists every year. Most of these tourists visit the city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a place considered holy by the three Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The historical and mystical atmosphere of Jerusalem has an interesting psychological effect on some visitors. This effect is called the Jerusalem syndrome. People suffering from Jerusalem syndrome experience religious obsessions, delusions, and hallucinations. Some see themselves as the Messiah, some as the Virgin Mary, some as Jesus. Most of these people return to normal within about a week after leaving Jerusalem. The number of tourists suffering from this syndrome ranges from 50 to 200 each year. These people come to Israel to communicate with God. Some of them write letters to God and put them in the post. These letters are usually addressed to God, Israel, Jerusalem, or the Wailing Wall. The Israeli Postal Service collects these letters in a special section and then delivers them to the rabbi of the Western Wall in Jerusalem. The rabbi then places the letters in the cracks of the Wailing Wall. In this way, people hope to reach God. It is also possible to do this via the internet. Organizations such as the Wailing Wall Heritage Foundation ask you to write a note on their website and give them your contact details. They then paste your note on the wall on your behalf and let you know. These notes are removed from the wall twice a year and buried. Among the tourist attractions of Israel, the Dead Sea is the most interesting place after the Wailing Wall. This sea is located at the lowest point of the world and has a very high salt content. Therefore, it is not possible to sink in the water. In addition, the minerals in the sea are good for skin and joint diseases. Tel Aviv, the largest city in Israel, is known as a city that never sleeps. Nightlife and parties in the city are quite colorful and fun. Tel Aviv is also known as the most gay-friendly city in the Middle East. Although same-sex marriages are not legal in the country, marriages performed in other countries are recognized. Gay adoption has also been possible since 2008. According to Tel Aviv's official website, about 25% of the city's residents identify themselves as gay, and the city is considered a gay capital. In recent years, Israel has hosted the world's largest gay tourism events. Approximately 250,000 people participated in the Pride Parade in 2019. This country has a very long and complex history. Judaism, which forms the basis of Israel, is the oldest of the monotheistic religions that still exist today. According to the Jews, Judaism is a belief system based on the fact that God made a covenant with the Jews who believed in him and promised them Palestine, known today as the Holy Land. For this reason, there is a constant conflict between Israel and Palestine. Israel's aim is to establish a full Jewish state in this land. Jews consider themselves a chosen race because they believe that God made a covenant with them. them alone. Some Jews believe that only Jews have the right to live, and that all property in the world belongs to Jews, and that any property in the hands of another is usurped. Many people around the world consider Jerusalem to be the closest point on earth to heaven. Jerusalem is a holy city for all three Abrahamic religions. Jews recognize it as the site of the Wailing Wall, a remnant of the Temple of Solomon. Christians see it as the place where Jesus Christ was born, crucified, buried, and resurrected. Muslims, on the other hand, recognize it as the place where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. For this reason, Jerusalem is known as the Holy Land and has been the scene of many wars over the centuries. The city, which has been wiped off the map twice in history, occupied 23 times and changed hands 44 times, is today divided into two between Palestine and Israel. West Jerusalem is under the administration of Israel. East Jerusalem has been declared as the capital by both Palestine and Israel. However, de facto East Jerusalem has also been under Israeli control since 1967. Israel is a young state established in 1948. However, the Jewish attachment to this land is much older. Jews claim to be the first owners of these lands. However, archaeological studies show that a people called Canaanites lived in these lands. Before Christianity, Jews lived under the protection of the Roman Empire. When Christianity emerged, the Jews rejected the prophecy of Jesus Christ. According to Christian belief, the Jews played a role in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ by the Romans. After the Romans accepted Christianity, they expelled the Jews from these lands. Jews lived in diaspora in Europe for centuries. The Holocaust, in which 6 million Jews were murdered by Nazi Germany, was a turning point in the history of the Jews. After the Holocaust, Jews felt the need to establish a state of their own. The Palestinian question is an ongoing conflict in the Middle East since the beginning of the 20th century. The territory of Palestine, once part of the Ottoman Empire, came under British rule after the First World War. Britain issued the Balfour Declaration in favor of a Jewish national home and allowed Jewish immigration. This led to the reaction of the Arab population in the region, and violent clashes broke out between the two communities. After the Second World War, the United Nations proposed the partition of Palestine and the establishment of Jewish and Arab states. However, this plan was rejected by the Palestinians, and Arab countries did not recognize the Jewish state. In 1948, after Israel declared its independence, the Arab-Israeli Wars began. In these wars, Israel captured most of the Palestinian territories, and millions of Palestinians became refugees. While Palestinians struggled to survive in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, Israel continued to build settlements there. Despite the efforts of the international community, the Palestinian conflict remains unresolved. While Palestinians defend their right to an independent state, Israel wants to maintain its control over the region to ensure its security. The West Bank is a disputed territory between Israel and Palestine. Israel occupied the territory in 1967 in the Six-Day War and has since established more than 260 settlements. These settlements are considered illegal under international law and violate Palestinian rights. Israel has also built a barrier wall along the West Bank border. This wall, called the security barrier, is 8 to 12 meters high and 700 kilometers long. The wall has a security tower every 200 meters. The wall is more than twice as long as the normal border line because in some places it penetrates into the West Bank. As it stands, it covers 9% of the West Bank and isolates more than 25,000 Palestinians. Israel claims that the wall reduces terrorist attacks and ensures their security. Palestinians, on the other hand, say the wall has negatively affected their living conditions, economy, livelihoods, and access to health care. Palestine was recognized as a state by the United Nations in 2012. However, this recognition did not confer full state status. Countries such as Israel, the USA, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, Italy, France, Spain, Germany, Japan, and Mexico do not recognize Palestine. This situation makes it difficult for Palestine to defend its rights in the international arena. It also restricts the freedom of movement of Palestinians. The number plates of Palestinian vehicles are green on white, while those of Israeli vehicles are black on yellow. This color difference determines which territory the vehicles can enter. In the Middle East, Israeli citizens are banned from entering most countries. About 30 countries do not recognize Israel, and 24 of them refuse to accept persons holding Israeli passports. According to Israeli law, persons traveling to countries such as Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen are prohibited from entering Israel. Countries such as Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Pakistan, Sudan, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Pakistan, Sudan, and Syria do not allow even a citizen of any country with an Israeli stamp in his passport to enter Israel. The passports of some countries, such as Pakistan and Malaysia, bear the phrase valid in all countries except Israel. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment. Your support is very important. See you in the next video.